the red corner. He's wearing blue with white and weighed in at 9 stone 4 pounds. Coming to us from Chasetown, Staffordshire, he brings a professional record consisting of 6 wins, 3 defeats with 1 draw. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Luke Jones. And his opponent across the ring, fighting tonight out of the blue corner. He's wearing red with black and weighed in at 9 stone 3 pounds. Hailing from Sheffield, Yorkshire, he is undefeated with 13 wins, 1 draw with 4 wins coming by way of knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, here is Muhib Flashy Fazaldin.
Okay, lads, obey my commands. In the event of a knockdown, the fights are standard. You go to the furthest neutral corner and stay there. Protect yourself at all times.
We see when the two stood face to face that Jones, the orthodox fighter, is a couple of inches or so taller. He'll have reach advantage as well. Fazaldin, who's promised a European level performance, a switch hitter, and typical of those once mentored by Brendan Ingley, chooses to fight and likes to fight with gloves held low, seemingly an inviting target for anybody who goes in the ring against him, but he's tricky, produces some really interesting angles, and just like Naz, who moved over and bought a lot of property in Detroit and was linked with that American city and continues to own property over there and have commercial interests. Fazaldin was actually working out of the Kronk gym for some time in the past. He's got family over there, just like, and has the same sort of connection as Naz.
Brilliant experience if you're training in those gyms, those type of gyms anyway, for Fazaldin. Yes, he has got a lot of skill. I think Jones, though, has started this contest in the right manner. He's got close up to him, fast with the feet, close that gap down. If you let Fazaldin box at his pace and you give him space and distance, then he really is in a comfort zone. So Jones has started fairly well. Got to quicken his feet up and close that gap.
Jones, coached by Scott Lawton, who boxing fans in the Midlands will remember was a very, very decent fighter a few years back. Fazaldin, he comes from the tough Pittsmore estate in Sheffield. And he says that, well, boxing quite simply kept him away from gang life and maybe worse. So he just clipped by a little left hand there and uses the ropes to stay upright. There's no great power on it. He was caught off balance, but really not supposed to be allowed to use ropes like that.
No, at the moment, like I say, Jones has started the contest quite well, John. He's closing that gap down. He's ruffled the feathers a little bit here to Fazaldin. You know, so it's not a bad start from Luke Jones.
Maybe it was a tangle of the feet as well, which caused that little stumble, which you sometimes get with the orthodox and the southpaw fighter. Not a lot from Fazaldin here in the opening stages of this. He's just having a look at Jones, just trying to work him out, maybe. His coach, Brian O'Shaughnessy, will have a few words, I'm sure, between rounds.
Bit of a scouting mission, I think, for Fazaldin in this opening round. He hasn't done a lot. He's been kept on the back foot.
Well, the thing about Naz, of course, for anybody who followed his career was, yes, he was unorthodox, he was elusive, he could switch hit, but for a man of his size, only some 5'3", 5'4", he had phenomenal power.
Oh, in either hand. That's what made him very special indeed, Prince Naseem. Either hand and threw punches from different angles, and yes, very powerful indeed.
Well, most of those punches from Fazaldin missing in that final attack, and he might have surrendered the opening round.
I've been searching for a long time to find somewhere to be mine. I never thought
If only finding the one you really want was as easy as with the Mercedes-Benz online showroom. Compare all approved used cars in stock today and see the latest offers. Now available with home delivery. Search Mercedes-Benz approved used today.
Welcome back. Mohib Fasseldine against Luke Jones, and here was the moment in the round where Fasseldine under pressure. Well, he just got clipped there, but there's also the tangle of feet.
Yeah, a little bit off balance as well. It wasn't a good round from Fasseldine, and I thought Luke Jones just nicked it, to be quite honest.
Even in the closing stages, when Fasseldine was aiming some shots to catch the eye in the last few seconds of that opening round, he was missing with just about everything he threw. Bob Williams will not stand for it, and he'll speak to both fighters. Bit of elbow and forearm going in from Jones, but he's clearly decided that the way to deal with this fella is to rough him up, and the head going in there as well, and the referee telling them watch the head.
Yeah, his tactics are spot on. He's been told to get up close, to rush his opponent if anything, so he don't let him into a rhythm. Fasseldine has got all the skills, but he's not keeping Jones at bay. So Jones is making it very, very untidy. It's difficult to score when they're up close, but at the moment, you know, Jones is having the better of things. You do see the odd glimpse of what Fasseldine can do, but he's certainly not keeping Jones at bay, and he's not boxing to his rhythm. So Jones is just making things a little bit awkward for the Sheffield man.
Well, it's clearly in Jones' interest to try and turn this into a bit of a brawl, and gets in with a sneak right hand there before coming wading in once more. And there's not been too much. There's a clean scoring shot at last from the Sheffield man, and the Yemeni-born Fasseldine. Oh, that's a good right hand from Jones, and Fasseldine felt that one. It caught him fairly flush.
Yeah, good shot again from Jones. Fasseldine was having a little bit of he was having a little bit of success, John, but he came in with his hands a little bit too low.
I thought he was stunned.
Yeah, he was. Well, he's here. He's getting caught with big shots.
He's in trouble, and it's been stopped. That is a big upset, and Luke Jones said that he was going to do this tonight. He said he was going to be the relentless one. He said that he was going to upset the apple cart, and Fasseldine is still on really unsteady legs as he's taken back to the corner, and that is a moment of celebrations for Scott Lawton, and particularly for Luke Jones. The plan came off 100%.
Yeah, the tactics were spot on right from the word go for Luke Jones. He was on that front foot. He was pushing his opponent back. He really made things awkward for Fasseldine, and he caught him there with a couple of good shots. Fasseldine started to get into a bit of rhythm in that round, but he's coming in with his hands far too low, and after he's landing the shots, he's falling in, he's falling forward, and Jones has caught him with a couple of belting shots, and he's finished him off. It's been a great display from Luke Jones.
It was a right hand which started Fasseldine's journey towards unravelling. He was really stopped in his tracks by a big right hand, and you could see the legs stiffen.
Yeah, it was a tremendous shot indeed, and he sort of jumped on him then. He recognised it, Luke Jones, and he's finished his opponent off. Let's have a look at it here. So here's Fasseldine coming forward. His hands are all over the place. He gets caught with that right hand there. That starts the ball rolling. Now he gets him on the ropes. Referee comes in, but as they come together, let's have a look. This is another angle of it. The right hand lands. They come to the ropes, and the referee will split them up. But after then, Jones comes forward, keeps the attack going, hits him on the side of the head there. Now he's in trouble. Fasseldine doesn't seem to be able to recover, getting his head to the side. And Jones just cuts loose with left hooks and right hands going in. That's a good display from Jones. He's finished him off very well there.
Referee absolutely spot on, stepping between them to stop it, because Fasseldine by that stage looked almost defenceless. His survival instincts, well, they just weren't there, and Luke Jones was landing some real power shots, and that's an impressive victory indeed. And we can get confirmation now as the two fighters are standing together with the referee. Here's Thomas Treiber.
Ladies and gentlemen, here is the official time. 2 minutes, 2 seconds of round number 2. Our referee in charge, Bob Williams, stops the contest as the blue corner was in no position to continue. Therefore, your winner, Luke Jones.
Well, that, I think it's safe to say, was not according to script, and that's why we love boxing, because Luke Jones was no respecter of reputation or indeed of bookmakers' odds. He went in there and he did a number.
Most certainly he did, John. He started tonight really like a man, Jones, who'd been waiting a long, long time to prove some people wrong. He'd been on the wrong end of a couple of decisions, hadn't he? And it is a long time, David. Guts of a year. But actually was one of the reasons why Fageldin tonight looked way too rusty, way too off it. He's been out even longer.
Yeah, you know, if you look at his stop-start career, you know 14 fights in 8 years, it's not a good schedule, and that showed tonight. You know, he didn't have what it was required. He couldn't hold it together. You know, Jones came out there, Luke really set about him from the very first moment of the fight, and I had the first round even. It was a close fight. They were both hitting each other with good, clean shots, but I definitely saw the writing on the wall in that first round when he kept copping these shots with his head up in the air. I thought, this doesn't look good, and if Luke can maintain this, you know, hellacious pace, he's only going to go one way, and I was right. He really started to put it on him, and in close, this is the type of thing you're not prepared for.
No.
If you haven't been doing your sparring, the tough sparring.
100%.
You get hit with a shot, you're expecting, I don't know what he was expecting, but his powers of recovery weren't there. He didn't know how to clinch and hold, but, you know, he needs to really take a long look at what he's doing now.
Some edgy stuff, I have to say, you know, when Bob Williams rightly did point this out during the fight. Jones, watch your head.
His head was coming.
Everything he did was to a plan. They thought about how to put this kid out of his zone.
He knew putting his head forward, it put Fageldin on